Hello and welcome to post-match reaction to the Hurricanes versus the Blues. It finished 29-24 in the end, but boy, this is a hard game to talk about as a Blues fan. Last week, the Blues led the Reds 5-21, only to lose that game 29-28. This week, they led the Hurricanes 5-24 at half-time, only to lose the game 29-24. Twice they had the opposition at 5 points with a big win, and let them come back and score 24 points to 24-0 in this game, but 24-7 in the other game to basically to lose the game. It's awful for Blues fans. Let's be honest. This kind of they play so well. They get themselves in a good position and then just throw it away. They managed to put 4 back-to-back wins at home, but can't win a single away game all season. Yeah, it's been another disappointing season for the Blues. And even in this game, the commentator said best scrum in the competition. And this is where stats can tell a story, but not the whole story. If you remember the Blues versus the Hurricanes game, the game up in Eden Park. Sure, the Blues had a really good scrum, except every time the ball came out, TJ Perenara managed to disrupt it. So it came out the right way, but it was never clean ball in that game. In this one, to be fair to them, it was much better at scrum time. And straight away, on 7 minutes, the Hurricanes gave up about 3 penalties in that first sort of 10 minutes or so, which led to the Blues knocking over 3. And then also giving them nice field position where they could then have lots of pressure and after a whole bunch of phases eventually go over with Talia. And it's 10-0 after 12 minutes, or 0-10 after 12 minutes. And it's looking, the Blues are looking decent. We then had like 20 odd minutes of interesting play, but no scores. And we had some interesting stuff. I mean, the Canes had their most experienced player on the right hand side, but they seem to be playing all their rugby down the left hand side, which is interesting. Ben Lamb being the most experienced back. It's a very inexperienced team. I mean, Taloa has only played 4 games for Hawke's Bay, and he was in their back line there. He's had like 13 minutes off the bench before this game. So it was a very inexperienced Hurricanes back line. So it was interesting to see that they were playing down that side rather than the other side. When Bren Lamb finally did get the ball and managed to have a break, he lovely chip over, absolutely gassed Nanai, but the ball didn't bounce for him, and it didn't happen. Rico Iwani in the 14 jersey. It was interesting that Ben Lamb was in the 14 jersey. He was only in 11. Same with Rico Iwani. He was having a bit of a shocker, really. I think he had about 1 good break all game, maybe 2. But he fumbled the ball and knocked it on several times. There are lots and lots of Blues errors of those knock-ons. Crazy NZ in the live chat. I know you're not spamming, sorry, but if you repeat the same symbol several times, the auto bot that I've got in there that looks after the comments for me and stops swearing and all that kind of stuff will recognise it as spam. So I'm sorry that you got caught up in that. But thank you. Great to see you here, and Joshua, Simon, all of you joining in the live chat. Nice to see you. Simon, it's hard luck for the Blues. It's a very bad decade. The good news is next year's a new decade. Yeah, thanks. It's been a long time. And Joshua says, yeah, as an Aussie Rebels fan, it looks like an Aussie game, an Aussie team that second half. And the Blues were very poor in that second half. So going back to this, Clark and Nanai did have a good break, but the last pass couldn't come off. Otto Black, good kick pass to that one. He had a decent game tonight, and which I was a bit unsure seeing that Pulu and Black back running the show again when we've had Ruru and Plummer for so long. I wish the Blues would actually decide who their halfback pairing is and stick with them and stop changing all the time. From that 5 metre scrum, though, there was they managed to create a big gap. Really nice worked move off the training ground to let Clark run straight in under the post untouched. There were multiple options to play. We had Sonny Bill Williams coming in on the inside ball or cutting inside, which drew the players, made this gap, which made Clark go through. So yes, Clark got the score, but that was a real team try. Really well worked there. Emmanuel Jensen then managed to finish off a move where Taloa really made a fantastic break to get the only points of for the Hurricanes in that first half. They missed the conversion. Emmanuel Jensen made no effort whatsoever to get close to the posts. I thought it was a bit harsh for him to do that for his kicker, who was Garden Bashop. Really thought he was a bit. I mean, he wouldn't have maybe got much further in, but every metre helps. And then we, with the clock in the red at half time, Nanai had some really wonderful stepping to go over after Rico finally made a decent break. Got an offload to Sonny Bill Williams. That snap broke down. They had to go through several phases. Then he went to Nanai, and he showed his footwork. That where's he going? I can't remember if it's London Irish or whether it's Worcester Warriors. I think it's Worcester Warriors. They're really going to enjoy him next season. So that was half time, 5:24. Reading 2 Cents Rugby's tweets, kind of like, hey, can we actually start to believe? And you're thinking, yeah, hey, this is kind of rosy. The Hurricanes got a very inexperienced side. We heard Carlos Spencer at half time saying, hey, they don't want to use the bench, which makes a lot of sense. They should resting players like Artie Surveyor, like TJ Perenara, not bringing them on too early. But they had to bring on Fletcher Smith because Marshall was injured at the back. And Fletcher Smith came on at 15, and a bit like we've seen with other small fly halves, such as Damien McKenzie, etc. Whilst they're getting their feet at this level, having that extra space, extra time gives them they can really inject themselves into the side and cause some real damage. And he did that in spades. 45 minutes goes on to score, and he was impacting the game all over the place. At that side, on that side of things. As it's half time, actually, I should do a quick half time. Josh says I'm very excited to see who the Hurricanes match up against in the quarterfinal because the home run has been up and down, kind of performance wise. Well, I will be live from 1 a.m, or maybe even a bit before that, for the Stormers versus the Sharks. I'm going to stay live for the Bulls versus the Lions as well. Yes, that's 4 hours of live streaming during the actual games, because I think there's going to be lots of twists and turns in those games for the playoff position. So I'm going to get myself a little table that I'll share on screen, and so we can see how the teams move up and down on that table, and be able to see what the quarterfinals are going to be. So really looking forward. So really, yeah, do join me for that one. I've invited a lot of different South African YouTubers on. I've done it very late, so I'm not sure if anyone's going to make it, but it'll be nice to get them to pop on and pop off again. I'm not expecting anyone to stay around for the full 4 hours, but if people can pop on for 10 minutes or so and then drop off, that'll be nice to have them join me. Joshua also makes a good point here that Canes have more wins than the Crusaders, but obviously bonus points are so important in all these rugby competitions nowadays that you've got to try and pick those up. So yes, back to the game itself. 45 minutes, yeah, Fletcher Smith gets that one. And there were just too many drop balls by both sides, actually. And you can only blame that on their changes so much. I mean, they did change a lot of players for this game. I'm not quite sure how many. But there was only one recognised person in the backs, which is Ben Lamb. All the rest would not have been starters. Another chip over the top got them their try on 15 minutes. Where chip over the top to Fletcher Smith, who collects it again, passes it to it's number 5. I've forgotten blank his name now. But he steps his player fantastically and goes over to score. First try in Super Rugby. And then suddenly it's 19-24 and it's game on, isn't it? Let's be honest, a 5-point game. And then we had a raft of changes. Too many to list here, but we had players like TJ Perenara, Artie Surveyor coming on at this stage. A bit earlier than I thought they would do. having heard no, not Conrad Smith, having heard, I've gone blank, King Carlos at halftime with the assistant coach interview, I thought they would have been held off for a bit longer than that. But they had a real impact on the game. Obviously, Artie Surveyor is a bundle of energy, lots of leg drive, etc. And really, they were absolutely dominating in this half. The Blues were never able to get out their half. A nice offload, and then we got it was 26-24 on 63 minutes. And it looked like it was only going one way. I know it's only a 2-point score at that point, 2-point game, and anything, I think you can get scores against a run of play, but as far as run of play was going, this was all Hurricanes. It got a bit disjointed after that. I mean, we had lots and lots of changes off the bench. We had the whole of the both benches pretty much emptied at this point, to the extent that when Ben Lamb got himself injured and went off, we saw Liam Mitchell come on. Now, Liam Mitchell plays 6 for the Manawatu Turbos, but has been playing in the locks for the Hurricanes. So he came on for Ben Lamb, which saw Arnie Surveyor move on to the wing, and he went on to the left wing initially, but then also switched to the right wing as well, moving himself around a bit. So yes, you've got to. Even with that change, the Blues couldn't isolate Artie Surveyor, couldn't get themselves a one-on-one with either Caleb Clark or Rico Ioane against him, or even Nanai Williams. Not Nanai, it was even just Nanai. Because that's what you should have been doing. You should be trying to get one of them backs up against a forward out in the wing there. You should be trying to isolate him and try and give some people give the opportunity to step around him. It didn't happen. We then had a comedy of errors by the Blues. They turn it over, gets kicked down the pitch, gets picked up by Sonny Bill Williams, who then kind of offloads it to Rico Ioane, who but totally misses him. The ball hits the ground, a bunch of players pile on and then give away a penalty for holding onto the ball. And Carlos Spencer's running onto the pitch with the tee straight away, saying, right, boys, let's get 3. And they did. They knocked it over. So it's 29-24, and that's how it kind of finished. The Blues really did not help themselves tonight. There were far too many knock-ons, far too many drop balls. We probably won't see that with the scrum stats as obviously playing advantage a lot from that. But it was crazy. In that first half, though, the Hurricanes were very, very good with the on the old penalty count. And it even they go 3 in the first half, they go like 2 in the second half. So it's 5 penalties to the Hurricanes, 12 to the Blues. The Blues really in that second half were giving them up and just giving the Hurricanes easy territory, easy possession. If they didn't knock it on, they gave up a penalty. Even then, with 4 unsuccessful lineouts from the Hurricanes, you're thinking, hey, well, maybe they won't make too much of it, but they did. But 8 scrums by the Hurricanes, 13 by the Blues. Also a lot. That's all those knocked on balls. Joshua was just asking in the live chat, am I going to do post-match after the Brumbies and Reds game? No, I'm not. I'm going to be going straight to bed because I've got to get up early for the South Africa game. So sorry, not doing a post-match for that one. But I say the Blues had the better of that first half. We can tell that by the score. In the second half, territory 70% to the Hurricanes. The Blues just played the entire half the entire half in their half, and they just couldn't get out their own territory for the entire second half. And we saw that with basically the Blues not being able to pick up any scores at all. It's going to be kind of interesting to see some of the player stats on this one, because it's going to be a bit all over the place. Marshall only got through 6 metres carrying, for example. When Fletcher Smith came on, he got through 43, because that first half the Hurricanes weren't doing that much. It was mainly in the second half that they got that. Bit of a surprise to see Garden Bashop top of the run meters. You very rarely see your fly half at the top of the run meters with 67. But Raisi got through a load of work, 12 carries there. Princep also in the forwards got through quite a lot of carries as well. Defensively for the Hurricanes, most of this would have been obviously in the first half there. Umanga Jensen made 7 tackles but missed 6. So there were some moments of quite a lot of missed tackles in this game. Pepe also got through 13 tackles but missed 3. He wasn't the only one to miss 3 though. Ben Lamb also did, as did Walker Louis. So plenty of players missing tackles in this game. It was a bit of a mess at times. Same for the Blues. Caleb Clark missed 4 tackles. But Lindy Mill, the prop, 14 tackles. And Gibson, 13, didn't miss any. Scrafton with 13 as well. So yeah, lots of work by those guys. On the attacking side, Nanai, yes, we talked about his stepping earlier, 113 metres. He topped the metres carried for both teams. Got through but he loves to run the ball back from kicks rather than kicking back. I mean, he did some kicking today, but I say he does love to run that ball back when he can, gets opportunity. Rico Iwani is next with 62 metres, but that was mainly from one run or a couple of runs. So he didn't have that great a game tonight. Caleb Clark, I thought was played the better of the two. Sonny Bill Williams, Pulu, both ran with the ball quite a bit, as is Akira Iwani, as you'd kind of expect. Pulu is that kind of scrum half who loves to run with the ball, when the opportunity sets itself. So this game really didn't matter as far as the playoff picture goes. The Hurricanes will finish 4th. The Blues will finish down the table. The next game, which is the Brumbies versus the Reds, also won't matter as far as the playoff picture goes. The Brumbies are going to finish 3rd, whatever that result is. They can't catch the Jaguares now, and the Reds will be finishing well out of the playoff picture. They can overtake the Blues and the Waratahs, so they can finish up in 12th. Possibly actually also even overtake the Sharks if the Sharks lose, maybe even finish up in 11th. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter, and I can't see the Reds getting a bonus point win over the Brumbies tonight. To be honest, the real games that matter are that Stormers versus Sharks. Stormers currently in 9th, Sharks currently in 11th. Now, one of those two at least will climb into the playoff positions. Actually, sorry, only one of them will climb into the playoff positions because if they get a draw, I don't believe the Sharks can make it. No, the Sharks can't make it. So they do need to. One of those teams will win. There is a scenario where the Sharks win, get a try bonus point and a draw, which we saw the Crusaders do earlier this year, but that's extremely rare and very unlikely to happen. You've then got the Lions the Bulls versus the Lions after that, where again both those teams can qualify for the playoffs. So we'll see how that all pans out. The Chiefs and Highlanders are sitting around waiting to see how those will go, because they could stay in the playoff positions or they could get knocked out depending on those results. Actually, no, sorry, I think the Chiefs actually have to stay in there, but they need to find out who they go and travel to. So that's what's going to be happening. Do enjoy the last 3 games. I'd say I'll be live during the South Africa game, so do come back and have a look at that. And also enjoy the Brumbies versus the Reds.